So I have lost over 75 pounds in weight in the last 6 months, and this is how I did it. At the beginning of this year, I shared a video with you guys where I talked about my goals for 2025, what I wanted to achieve. And one of the key goals was to get my health in order, to get in my prime health, to sort my body out, sort my fitness out. I was really struggling with my weight, with my happiness, with my body. I was just struggling with everything. How did I get to this point? At my heaviest, I was 185 pounds. I am 5'3" on my best day, so I was considered obese because my BMI was well and truly over 30. I was very, very heavy. I was very unhealthy. I was very unfit. Walking up the stairs was a task. I was out of breath. I was sweating all the time. It was just a horrendous existence. I hated myself. I hated my body. I was extremely, extremely depressed. I couldn't describe just how depressed I was, but I was definitely speaking to my doctor about getting on medication for my depression. On top of that, I also suffer from PCOS or PCOD, which means it's really hard to lose weight. I have insulin resistance, hormonal imbalances, and it impacts my fertility. Partly why I'm on this fertility journey, the PCOS. I also have fibroids, which again just compounds the problem, right? So I was just having a tough time. My health has just not been in the greatest of places over the last 3 years. Of course, it was triggered by my pregnancy losses, my fertility issues, and the only thing that I had, with everything absolutely falling apart, moving to a new country, relationships changing, doing this master's, the only thing that I had that stayed constant, that brought me pleasure, was food. And so food was my coping mechanism. It was my emotional blanket. It was my friend. So for any emotion, happy, sad, bored, celebrating, I run to food. That was how I got through everything that I have been getting through. Food was my best friend, and I ate. And the funny thing with using food as a coping mechanism is, for a split second, it brings you pleasure, it brings you joy, but straight after, you feel terrible. And then that also triggers you to eat again. So it was just a cycle. It just kept going around and around. I just kept eating and I couldn't stop. I couldn't be helped. So what did I do to try to lose weight? I tried every diet. I tried everything that you could think of. I tried the military diet, the keto diet. I tried fasting, water fasting, soup fasting, just eating heavy protein, cutting out all carbs, cutting out all sugars. I tried working out. I worked with a nutritionist. I went to my doctor. I literally did everything that I could do. So how did I finally lose all of this weight? How did I lose 75 pounds in 6 months? We are in an age of GLP-1s. And of course, as some of you may have suspected, I 100% use a GLP-1. But last year in the summer, I went to my doctor in the US to check if insurance covered GLP-1s. Unfortunately, they didn't. And to buy it without insurance, it was $1,500 for 1 month, one pen. I'm going to be totally honest, I considered it. I was desperate. I considered paying $1,500 a month for a pen to help me lose weight. I was in a desperate place. However, I came to my senses and that was not an option. I then went to the UK in December, and that's when the penny dropped. I wish I had realized this sooner, because I would have started my weight loss journey a lot sooner than I did. So I went to the UK, I went to the NHS, told them how much I weighed, which was about 185 pounds, and that I wanted to get on the GLP-1s. Unfortunately for them, I wasn't heavy enough to qualify for help on the NHS. I needed to be a lot bigger for that and have a health condition in order to get access to the medication on NHS. So that wasn't an option for me, but they did tell me that I can get access to it privately. I can pay privately. The price difference between the US and the UK for the medication that I eventually used is ridiculous. It is almost 90% cheaper to get the medication in the UK than to get it in the US. And that's privately, that's paying for it out of my pocket without coverage. It was 90% cheaper in the UK. So of course I signed up for that. I got the medication through a pharmacy, an online pharmacy in the UK. The medication that I chose to use is Mounjaro or zepbound. I didn't go for Ozempic because of all the stuff that I'd heard about the side effects. I wasn't trying to sign up for any of that, so I opted for the safer option, which is Mounjaro. And it honestly has been the best, or one of the best decisions that I have ever made for myself. This was my experience on the medication. So after my fibroid surgery in January, I took 3 weeks to heal, and I started the medication in February. I may have taken even longer, but I know I started the medication in February. Each week, I would inject myself with 2.5 milligrams of Mounjaro, and that would basically last me the whole week. I have to say, for the majority of the time, I stayed on 2.5 because it worked really, really well for me. In fact, at the beginning, I struggled, like it knocked me out. In my first week, I lost 13 pounds. I was shocked. Of course I was shocked. I know that it was mainly water weight, but I was gobsmacked because I had never lost that amount of weight. I had never, no matter how much I tried, I had never achieved that. So month 1, month 2, month 3, I was losing weight steadily. Like the initial first week was the biggest dump, the biggest weight loss that I experienced, right, in one go was in the first week. Thereafter, it was very slow. It was 2 pounds every week. Maximum, if ever, it was 3 pounds. But really it maintained at 2 pounds, and sometimes I didn't lose anything. So it was very, very slow, but it was effective. That was the key. It was effective. So I was really happy to see the numbers kept going down, kept going in the right direction. As I'd heard online on various forums, various groups, people go up a dose every month. So you start off on 2.5 and you go up to 5 milligrams the second month. I made that mistake. I went up in my second month, I went up to 5 milligrams and I regretted that instantly. Like it was the worst decision I could have made. I took that 5 milligrams and I was floored. My heart was beating out of my chest. I was weak. I was sweating. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. It was horrendous. It was legit the worst experience that I've had on this medication. At that time, I wasn't being monitored. Prior to that, I wasn't being monitored. When that happened, I called my doctor in the US, my primary care provider, and I told them exactly what I was doing. Even though they didn't prescribe the medication, they were happy to see me. They were happy to monitor me. They agreed to monitor me. So every 2 weeks, I would go in, they would take my vitals, they would talk to me about the medication, just coach me through it and monitor me, keep an eye on me, keep an eye on my progress, and just help me come up with a plan for after I finish the medication, right? So after that experience with the 5 milligrams, started seeing my doctor twice a month. I also went back to 2.5. I had to go back to 2.5. It was still effective. It was still suppressing my appetite, and I was still losing the weight on the 2.5. I stayed on 2.5 for the next 3 months, and then I started to go up slowly. I still didn't go up to 5 milligrams. I went up to 3 milligrams. I had the 5 milligram pen at that point, and I would just turn it to the equivalent of 3 milligrams, and that's what I would take. And again, I stayed on that for maybe 2 months, and I went up again to 4. By the time I stopped taking the medication in August. Oh no, I stopped in July because I was having my embryo transfer in August. So I stopped in July. I had only gone up to 5 for 1 week, if even that, right? I think I was still on 4, to be honest. I was still going on 4. This is not a magic pill where you can just eat whatever you want, take the medication and still lose weight. You still have to make lifestyle changes to support the weight loss and support the fitness goals, the health goals, right, that you want for yourself. So these are the lifestyle changes that I made that helped me continue to lose weight and maintain the loss. So the first thing I really had to look at and address was diet and nutrition. As I've said, the medication worked really well. Thankfully, it was able to suppress my appetite and suppress the food noise. So where I would ordinarily have food cravings, I would want sugar, I would want fried stuff, processed food, that was not an issue. So my diet was a very, very easy thing for me to change while on this medication. I could barely eat, right? What I could eat most of the time was vegetable broth, some vegetables, very, very little protein, very, very few vegetables. So I made sure when I could eat, when I had to force myself to eat, it was nutritious food. It was healthy, good food rather than the processed food. And if I'm honest, I really didn't have any cravings for the unhealthy food. It eliminated any sort of craving, any sort of desire for unhealthy processed food. Again, very, very grateful for that aspect of the medication. I also, because I wasn't eating as much, I also had to have supplements. I had to up my vitamin intake. So vitamin D, K2, iron, calcium, just all the vitamins or vitamins in the US that I needed, I had to add those on top. I also had to have my electrolytes, make sure that I'm getting those in and getting all the nutrition that I needed because I wasn't eating as much as I would ordinarily eat. So the diet aspect was so easy for me. It really was. You really have to drink as much as you possibly can. I would always drink about 3 liters every single day, and I managed it. I have a big Stanley-esque tumbler, so I would have that. I'd have 3 of those every day, no problem, right? Because that's really all I could consume, right? That's all I could consume. So that was an easy adjustment for me to make as well. When it comes to movement, I have to be honest and say that I was not able to do much at the beginning. I was sofa bound. When I tell you I was sofa bound, I was literally sofa bound. I could not move. So I think at the very beginning, I lost a lot of muscle. I could feel the aches in my body. It was so painful. And initially I didn't understand what was going on. Like, why am I aching? But it was me losing muscle because I wasn't able to move. I wasn't feeding my body enough protein, enough nutrition. As much as I was trying to eat, I wasn't getting enough. So there was a lot of muscle loss and I wasn't moving as much as I would have liked to. However, when I finally started to get the energy, I started to walk, and that was sufficient to help me start to build up again, to build my fitness, to start to build my muscle up again. And eventually I started doing my classes, I started going to Pilates, and it was hard. It was definitely hard, but gradually, slowly got so much better. I am so fit. I can't believe it. I actually can't believe it. I started running and I started lifting weights. Lifting weights is really important to build back that muscle that you have lost. So lifting weights, walking, Pilates, just doing resistance work has been important for me to build my fitness and also get my body back to its healthy self. So what has been the results and the impact beyond the weight loss? As I've already said, the weight loss is the biggest thing that I have experienced on this medication. That is what it is there for, to assist us in losing the weight that we struggle to lose on our own. I have lost over 75 pounds, the biggest achievement when it comes to my health and fitness, right? So there's that. But beyond that, there has been other things, again, as I've mentioned. Emotional health. My emotional health has never been, or has not been, this great since 2008. I can take it back to 2008. I started to get depression in 2008 when I started university, and I have not had this level of clarity, this level of peace. I have hope for the future. I want to be here. I want to live, to experience life. Even though I have my moments, I think they're more normal now than they were before. The biggest thing as well that I noticed was the lack of food noise. I did not think about food. Before that, I chronically thought about food. I would be eating breakfast and thinking about the next snack that I would have, lunch. I'm in bed at night thinking about what am I going to eat in the morning. Food was constantly on my mind. It was honestly so crippling. And when I took the medication, I did not think about food. Not only did I not have an appetite, it wasn't on my mind all the time. And that was so freeing. I could be productive. I could do my work. I could function without thinking about food. I have confidence. I like myself. I like the person who I am. I'm finally starting to discover myself and be myself, really enjoy being here. I'm getting to know myself. And all of that is because I started this journey. Physically, I have more energy. I have improved my fitness beyond a level that I have not experienced since I was in my teens. I can run outside and actually enjoy running. I can walk, I can lift weights. I don't get tired easily in my workout classes. It's completely different. I have more energy during the day. I don't nap as much during the day or at all. I really actually don't take any naps during the day anymore. So just a lot more energy, and I'm able to be a lot more productive than I used to be. When it comes to fertility, unfortunately, we are still not pregnant. We, as if Dan is carrying anything, I'm still not pregnant. I have had to have fibroid surgery, as I said, but this is unrelated to the medication. I don't know whether it has necessarily helped me with my PCOS in terms of fertility, but it definitely has helped in terms of managing the insulin resistance and the hormonal imbalances. It's definitely helped in that sense. But yeah, we still are not pregnant. We're still trying. We're still on this journey. But I really hope that in the long run, it helps with that as well. We're planning on our next transfer. Unfortunately, our third transfer didn't work out, but perhaps it's going to be the fourth or the fifth, whatever it is. I don't know the impact it's had on my fertility. Let's talk about the hard truths and the lessons that I've learned. It was not an easy process to go through with the lack of energy, the lack of food and nutrition that I was getting, the loss in muscle weight. So the first few months, the main symptom for me was lack of energy, complete and utter lack of energy. I spent a lot of my time on that sofa. So I'm very grateful I didn't have to work in an office. I don't have a job that needs me to be in an office or a physical job because I didn't have the energy. So I spent a lot of the time on the sofa. I was fatigued. I was not hungry. I had no appetite. It was incredibly hard to sleep while on this medication. I definitely had sleepless nights. Sleep was very disturbed and very difficult, very restless. There were still some setbacks and there were plateaus where I wasn't losing weight some weeks, and no matter what I did, I wasn't losing weight. I'd speak to my doctor and she was like, yeah, that's normal. So I would just go up by 1 milligram. I would increase my medication by 1 milligram. But again, I said the maximum that I went up to was 5 in the very last month, right? And I only did that for about 2 weeks. I was on 5 for 2 weeks. Knowing that I am on this journey, I have committed. I am not going to stop. I'm not going to go back. I can't quit. I have the help, just kept me going. It motivated me. Like, I've already achieved this amount. I'm not going to stop now. So I just kept going. Ordinarily, I would stop, I would give up, but giving up wasn't an option, especially when I have this help. Fast forward 6 months later, I am now more than 75 pounds lighter. I've lost almost a whole person in weight. I feel great. I am so happy. I am so fit and healthy. I don't think I've actually ever been this healthy. Maybe when I was 18, maybe when I was 17, or even younger. I haven't been this healthy, this fit in my adulthood life. Having this help, having something go right, finally achieving something after all of these failures that I have been experiencing and after all these negative events, has really had a ripple effect on the rest of my life. It's just opened doors and opened me up to be able to achieve in other areas of my life. I just needed something to go right. I needed one thing to go right. I needed help. And this medication was that help. Like I said, I am at a point where whatever is going to help me get to where I need to get to, whatever is going to help me have a better experience in life, I am going to take it. I am not ashamed. I am just so happy that this was available to me. Finally, I would like to offer this advice to you if you are considering this medication. Do your research, speak to your doctor, see if you can get it on insurance, see what medication is right for you. Work with your doctor to see what medication is right for you. I was on Mounjaro, zepbound. You might be better off on Ozempic. Not everything is suitable for everyone. It's not a one size fits all. If and when you decide to use this medication, do not be ashamed. You are going to have people telling you, oh, you did it the easy way, or you cheated, and try to make you feel ashamed of getting the help that you need. And you may experience scare tactics. I am telling you, ignore it. Would you rather stay unhealthy for longer to please and appease other people? Do what is best for you. If you want to take the medication, your doctor and you have agreed that this is the best course of action, then go ahead. There is no shame in seeking help. Do not let anybody make you feel less than for getting the help that you need, for taking this path. Especially for women with insulin resistance, with hormonal imbalances, it's just difficult. It's more difficult for us to lose weight. And even if you don't have those conditions and you just need the help to lose weight, it is your body and it is your health and it is your money. So, word of encouragement, word of advice, look after yourself. Choose what is right for you. Choose what is best, and that is going to help you achieve what you are trying to achieve. The key takeaway here is that it is not just about weight loss. As I have shared with my story, it is more than weight loss. It is reclaiming your health. It is empowering yourself and being an active participant in your own health. That is my goal in life with everything that I am doing, with the ventures that I am building. It is to help women take charge of their health, specifically of their reproductive health. I think I've spoken enough. I just want to end it by saying that if you are on your own weight loss journey, your health journey, you have insulin resistance, you may have PCOS or fibroids, a fertility struggle that you're going through, I would love to connect. Drop your story below. I am trying to build a community here. And I just love to hear from other women going through their own transformation or who are interested in starting their transformation. I am a source of information and I'd love to help in any way that I can. So leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, let's connect, and I will see you in the next video.